Hey, what's up my friends? My name is Bill. Welcome to Cars That Last. On today's video, 5 things you need to know about buying a used Chevy Suburban, Chevy Tahoe, or GMC Yukon. Now, if you're new to my YouTube channel, I study the car marketplace. I love to analyze data, and this data can help me make informed decisions. What inspired me to make this video was my 2003 Suburban is starting to rust out, as you can see right here. And it's been a great truck, but it only has 104,000 miles. So I started to analyze the data of vehicles that are for sale across the United States. And I wanted to share this information with you. I think you'll find it quite helpful. And before we get into the data, my feature vehicle is a friend of mine. He just sent me his picture on his odometer of his 2003 Chevy Tahoe with 298,000 miles. Nice job taking care of that vehicle, Jim. Now, reminder that the Chevy Suburban, Chevy Tahoe, and GMC Yukon are all built on the same truck platform. They share the same engines and running gear, and GMC brands itself to be a little bit more professional grade, but they are relatively the same vehicles. So with that being said, I'm going to use the Chevy Suburban as the reference point for this vehicle. Number 1, the full-size GM SUVs from 2000 to 2006 have proven to be fairly reliable vehicles. In fact, let's check out some statistics of vehicles for sale. Out of 433 Suburbans from 2000 to 2006, 231 vehicles had more than 200,000 miles. This is over 53% of the vehicles had more than 200,000 miles. The highest mileage Suburban was a 2004 model with 436,000 miles. That features the 5.3 liter V8. And 21 Suburbans had more than 300,000 miles. Now, we're seeing this in many cases that these vehicles are lasting a long time. I love this 2003 Suburban. I've been driving it for the last 2 years. I'm going to have another video coming out soon on these older vehicles, so stay tuned. Now, don't get me wrong, these vehicles are not perfect. One of the primary issues with a generation like this is rust. Rust will kill these vehicles faster than anything. But the engines and transmissions have proven to be fairly reliable. But there are a lot of little issues with these trucks. Things like dashboard lights not working, or in my case, the oil gauge stopped working. And the biggest complaint for full-size GM SUVs and pickup trucks from 2000 to 2006 is the chatter that goes on in the steering column. I also have a 2004 Chevy Silverado, and that thing rattles more than a stone in your shoe. So the 2000 to 2006 Suburbans are known as Generation 9. There have been lots of good success stories with these vehicles on lasting a long time. Number 2 are the problems with the Generation 10 Suburbans. These last from 2007 to 2014. In 2007, there was a change to the Generation 10 platform. The engine in the 2007 model was still the 5.3 liter. These engines burn oil. So in 2007, General Motors came out with the AFM, or the Active Fuel Management System. This is also known as DOD, or Displacement on Demand. This was GM's attempt to improve fuel economy for big V8 engines. The AFM would result in a cylinder deactivation, and that would turn off half of the cylinders in order to improve fuel economy. But what really happened was that the engines started to burn oil. We're talking quarts of oil every few thousand miles. And this would lead to engine problems because of fouled or damaged valves. Now, from my research, it appears to impact mostly for vehicles starting in 2007 through 2010. Now, you can search on the internet for a DIY fix for this. There is an aftermarket engine tuner that will deactivate the AFM. But proceed at your own risk. I talked to my neighbor who has a 2010 Chevy Silverado, and he's looking at getting a new vehicle instead. So for 2011 to 2014 GM SUVs, it appears that this problem has diminished. But my question was, does the data support that? Let's take a look at this data. So in my analysis, 2005 had 132 Suburbans for sale across the United States. 2006, that dropped to 248. But for the 2007 model, there are over 1,600 2007 Suburbans for sale, followed with 2008 at 953 and 2009 at 698. And you can see that spike on this chart here. So what does this data mean? To me, it means there is a pretty good confirmation that people want to get out of these 2007 and 2008 Suburbans. So you might be thinking you're getting a good deal, but buyer beware. It's a known issue by GM. but they haven't done anything really to fix it. So watch out for 2007 to 2009 Suburbans. You'll also notice that the data after 2009, the for sale numbers go down. So for Gen 10 models, the 2010s to 2014s have a lot less issues and complaints. So if you're in the market for a used Suburban that's newer, you're going to have a higher probability of success going with a later year of the Generation 10 platform. And also, you see these numbers across the board for the Suburban, the Yukon, and the Tahoe, as you can see on the chart. The third thing you need to know, for the Generation 10, the years 2010 to 2014, the number of vehicles for sale had declined. There are also a lot less complaints on these vehicles. A really good resource for information on car complaints is on carcomplaints.com. I'm not sponsored by their website. It is a helpful resource if you're studying for a used vehicle. I did a video, should you buy a Suburban with high mileage? Some of you may have seen that. In that video, my friend had over 200,000 miles on his 2013 Suburban. I checked with him yesterday. He now has 268,000 miles on that vehicle. So if I'm looking for a newer used Suburban, I'd probably look for the years 2010 to 2014. Number 4, there are problems with the Generation 11 Suburbans. Now, the Generation 11 Suburban started in 2015. So in 2015, that's the new version of the Suburban, new body style. The common problem with the 2015 Suburban and across the board, including even the Cadillac Escalade, is the air conditioner stops working. There also have been reports of transmission failures at lower miles. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration also reports a number of people with their brakes failing. So does the data support problems with the years 2015 and 2016? In 2014, there were a total of 405 vehicles for sale. In 2015, that number spikes to over 2,100 vehicles and drops a little bit in 2016 to over 1,500 vehicles. Now, what does that say about the 2017 through 2020 Suburbans? The sales data may be less helpful just because there might be a lot of vehicles that are coming off lease. So it's hard to gauge yet at this point if there are a lot of unhappy customers with the newer Suburbans. 2015 vehicles also have issues with interior electronics, and a number of people have reported that their taillights don't work. And number 5, General Motors just came out with the Takata airbag recall for these vehicles from 2007 to 2014. So what does that mean to you? If you own one of these vehicles from 2007 to 2014, Takata was a company that made airbags that went into millions of vehicles. This GM recall affects 7 million vehicles. What can happen is the airbag can go off and it can send shrapnel into the passengers. There are over 20 people across the world that have died from this, so it's a good thing for the recall. If you own one of these vehicles, make sure to get your vehicle into your dealer right away. They will replace that airbag free of charge. Hey, one more thing about the burning oil issue. I want to share this with you. One of my readers just commented on one of my other videos about the burning oil issue, and I thought you might find this helpful. I'm actually going to read it on my other cell phone. This is from one of my viewers named Dennis. Dennis said, the burning oil issue is due to the dual lifters, and Chevy had a poor design flaw on the PVC system, where the oil in the intake side of the engine sucked off the baffle. This can be corrected by drilling holes in the baffle to drain the oil pooling further down. They have also a redesigned valve cover that is a fix available in the aftermarket for a fair price. Good idea to fix this because the oil may damage the PVC system over time and cost more to fix. Thanks for sending that tip in, Dennis. All right, you might be saying, all right, Bill, you've thrown a ton of information at us. What are we supposed to do now? Let me give you a quick recap. So what I'm seeing from full-size GM SUVs from the years 2000 to 2006 have been fairly reliable, although they have a few quirks. The 5.3 liter in these years has been proven to be very reliable. For the years 2007 to 2010, they do have issues with burning oil. You'll have to determine if that's worth it for you to put up with. So if I'm in the market for a used Suburban and I know that information, I probably would skip 2007 to 2010 years. I seem to see fewer problems with the 2011 to 2014 models, and the redesign starting in 2015 through 2016 are also showing a number of common problems. What I find interesting is that when there is a new generation of these SUVs, history has shown that there have been problems in the first few years of the new generation. So guess what? 2021 is now the brand new generation, the 12th generation for the Suburban, Yukon, and Tahoe. Again, the last 2 generation changes, there have been significant problems with the vehicles. If I were in the market for one of these vehicles, I might suggest buying a later year model of the previous generation. In other words, focus on the models from 2013 or 2014, or maybe a 2019 or 2020 model. That way General Motors has had some time to work through some of these issues. Okay guys, how many miles on your Suburban, Tahoe, or Yukon? I'd love to hear your comments. That's it for the data. If you like this kind of information, feel free to click that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell to be alerted for new videos. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Namaste.